Sometimes you have an instinct, May. You see something in a fighter. You don't even know if it's real. You're looking for it so bad.
Coming back at you guys with another breakdown. Gonna be breaking down, we got a fight night coming up, Mohegan Sun, Porter versus Wilson. Before we get into that, gonna just recap BKFC 87 Hollywood. Just want to give a shout out though to Bare Knuckle Casual. He was my first subscriber and showing me support right off the rip, leaving me comments. I really appreciate it. Anyone watching my channel, please go check out his Bare Knuckle Casual on YouTube or his Instagram. Been giving out some low-key good picks, some big underdogs for him as well. Just shout out to him. Quick recap though, ended up going 6-4 on this card. I'm pretty disappointed in my picks, but can't kill it every week, even though we're going to try to aim for like 70-80%. We got 60% this week. Going to talk about our losses. First one is AJ Rodriguez, who I took high confidence. Looking back at it, should have took him probably average. But I thought he could get it done. Took him high confidence, and he came out like he got listed as like a minus 400, 500 favorite. But he came out of the fight just flat-footed. Like he never woke up. Ended up throwing in the towel. Bad look. Could not escape the clinch. Could not circle out of the clinch. Really frustrating fight to watch. But props to Robert. Is his name Roberto? I'm pretty sure his name was listed as Roberto Armas. But yeah, man, he just made a dirty clinch fight. Dirty clinch fight. And he had a good game plan to beat AJ Rodriguez here. Nice veteran of the game in BKFC, Roberto Armas. Bringing his record to 5-5. Looked good, man. Next fight was a rematch. Took Donald Sanchez low confidence. Can't be mad at this play. I thought he would come into this fight looking a little better than the first fight. He was sober now. Looked like he had a good head on his shoulders in this fight, but Jeremy Smith just has his number, man. He has too much power. It shouldn't even been a split decision. Jeremy Smith just throwing big power shots, putting Donald Sanchez was running that whole fight, honestly. Jeremy Smith too aggressive, was willing to eat any shot to give it one right back, and he was throwing with absolute power. And this was a rematch fight where Donald Sanchez wanted to get his get back against Jeremy Smith and catch him on a 3-fight losing streak. And then Jeremy Smith wanted to snap his 3-fight losing streak against Donald Sanchez, who he's already beat. And Donald Sanchez ended up retiring. Good to see that he knows he ain't got much left. And if he ain't beating Jeremy Smith, then it's probably time to hang it up, because he did go to decision with Dave Mundell, who I rank really high, and he just had a really big fight with Lorenzo Hunt, number 1, number 2 in the pound-for-pound rankings. Next fight, Sabah Hamazi and Lionel Carrera. Unfortunate one here, man. As you can see here, disqualification. So Sabah Hamazi threw a spinning back fist, which is illegal in BKFC. You cannot do that. You can only box. You can't throw spinning stuff. Trying not to swear. I don't know if I'll get monetized or whatever. But yeah, man, bad. If you look at this back, bad spinning back fist absolutely shattered Carrera's nose. And Hamazi was looking good, putting Carrera on his back foot, being the aggressor. A little wild, though. That's one thing. It looks like Hamazi, this fight, was fighting with his emotions rather than fighting technical. So yeah, that was an unfortunate one that we probably could have won and then made it 7-3. But this is a rough skid right here, 3 in a row, and we ended up losing 4 in a row. This is like the same thing with the AJ Rodriguez Roberto Armas fight. Shelby Cannon just out-clinched Rosalinda Rodriguez. And I'm just thinking of it too, like, oh, this should not have been a split decision. I knew right when they read split decision on both these fights that we were going to lose. I was not feeling confident at all going to the judges. Um, but yeah, Rosalinda Rodriguez just couldn't escape the clinch. It's couldn't separate, couldn't fight from range, be the more technical fighter. Shelby Cannon, props to her, just getting in and making it a dog fight. But I'm putting it on Rosalinda Rodriguez's side. I don't like her coaching. I think her coaching lost this fight. I don't like her corner. And yeah, that's all I got to say about my recap. I went 6-4. Just rough streak right here, losing 4 in a row, but we did win the last 3. Alright, hopping over my Facebook, something new we got going on here, just trying to spread more of my content, reach more people, trying to make a name in the game with Bro Fight MMA. So if you want to come give me a follow, Bro Fight MMA on Facebook. I'll be posting all my advanced tailored tapes for BKFC and even UFC as well, but my UFC content ain't gonna look as good as my BKFC for a while. It's just too much work to pump out both at the moment, just trying to get into a groove of BKFC. And then eventually, I don't even know. I like the way I set up my UFC advanced tailored tapes right now, even though it doesn't even look remotely as clean as my BKFC breakdowns. But that doesn't matter to me. Looking at my UFC breakdowns here, no one's really doing this. No one's giving you advanced tailored tapes like this for UFC. I like the way that I do it all on one page, so it's all right in front of you. Kind of overwhelms some people, but if you just zoom in on each fight, it's not that bad. I give you fighters' BJJ belts, their finish rate, UFC record. I have visual markers. If you ever see a Crimson Chin, they've never been knocked out. If you see a Royce Gracie, they've never been submitted, never tapped. I got their fight style, age, reach, decision records. I put their stance if they're opposite. Just go check it out if you want to see some UFC advanced tailored tapes, help you with your research, betting. Hopping into this BKFC card though, we got a BKFC Fight Night Mohegan Sun. It's going to be an 11 fight card. Tough card to research, honestly. You got a lot of fighters making their debut on this card, and not a lot of information out there on a lot of these fighters, and had to dig pretty deep. Alright, let's get right into it. First fight of the night, you have women's bantamweight fight. Both these ladies are going to be making their BKFC debut. You have 20-year-old Sophia Haze going to be taking on 27-year-old Nadia Moreno. Looking at the regular tailored tape, not much on it, just their height, and Haze is going to be coming in here a little bit longer, taller fighter, standing 5'6" compared to opposite Moreno, 5'4". Can't find anything on their reach. BKFC.com doesn't have their fist size listed. Looking over at Haze first, 3-3 amateur MMA record, 1-0 Muay Thai. Started MMA kind of young, 14 years old. Her first amateur fight at 18. And watching tape on Haze, it seems like kicking is her best asset of her game. Seems like her kicks have more power than her punches. Nonetheless, she's a gritty, aggressive type fighter. And watching some interviews that she's done, she's a big fan of Ronda Rousey. She fell in love with MMA watching Ronda Rousey fight back in the day. But this girl's definitely a striker, and like I said, her kicks are probably her best asset of her game, and it's getting taken away in this fight. Obviously, going to be some bare knuckle boxing, but I like her style. Looking over at Moreno, 0-2 amateur MMA, 0-2 pro boxing, 1-0 kickboxing amateur. Started off high school wrestler and then went into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Only started boxing 4 years ago. She's trained by her fiance or now husband. She just got married like a week ago. Like, how much are you training? How much are you in camp? How much blood, sweat, and tears are you putting into this camp when you just got married and you're celebrating a week ago and this fight's Saturday? How serious are you honestly taking this going into a bare knuckle fight? That's the way I'm looking at it. Also, only started boxing 4 years ago. That was her first fight. I don't know when she actually like started training boxing, but that's late to start training boxing. And I did find some pad work on both ladies. Did watch some tape. Not impressing Moreno, honestly. I'm thinking Haze here is gonna have a little bit more grit, be more of the aggressive fighter. Watching Moreno's tape, it looks like I don't like her foot movement, moving backwards a lot. I just don't like it. I don't know if I have a thing for girls with neck tattoos, but I like what I'm reading on the Haze side here. I have no idea what the odds. I think the odds should be close in this fight. I don't think the odds makers are gonna know what they're doing either, so those probably just make it close. But yeah, Moreno does look pretty big for her size. Looks like she packs a punch, but I'm just certain that, or I just think that she doesn't really know how to use it. And I think Haze is going to be the more grittier fighter in this fight. And I'm going to take her here at average confidence. Like I said, not much tape, not much pad work. Hard to find anything on these two ladies, but I don't know. I'm liking what I'm seeing in the Haze side here, so I'm gonna take her average confidence on the next fight. All right, next fight we're diving into is gonna be a light heavyweight bout. This one is gonna be probably pretty close odds, I would think. This is pretty tough to break down. You have 30-year-old David Burke taking on 44-year-old Terryl Johnson. Both of these fighters 0-1 in BKFC, so they're both going to be wanting to get their first W in the promotion. No real differences or discrepancies on the tail of the tape, height or reach. You got David Burke 3-2 amateur MMA record, 0-1 pro MMA. I took Burke in his debut for bare knuckle. He ended up I think he got dropped twice in the first round and finished by Joe Peters, who we'll be talking about later on the card. He's featuring on this card as well. On the opposite side, you got Terryl Johnson, 0-2 amateur MMA, 1-0 pro boxing. I could be wrong about the odds on this fight, with just like the huge 14-year age gap in this fight. A lot of people I think are going to be on Burke. Hopping over to Burke's Instagram here. See him hit some pad works 13 weeks ago. I think he's a little on the slow side. I think he could be open to counters. I don't know if he's got too much muscle built on him, but he just looks a little slow in my opinion. But the thing is, I'm not seeing any pad work out of Terryl Johnson, really. I don't know how long of rounds he's been sparring right here. I don't know if this is like 5th round, if he's been going for a minute. He looks in the slow side. I like the body work. Maybe that could play a factor from Burke here. I don't know. I just might like these things that I'm seeing on Terrell Johnson's side. I like the gym that he's coming out of. He's coming out of pretty popular, pretty good gym. And you see him here with Coach Dewey Cox. See him here with Conor McGregor, Notorious. And I'm pretty sure he's related to Kevin Lee and Keith Lee. I'm pretty sure he's cousins with them. So he's got some fighter blood in him. It's just his pro boxing record. He fought a 0-20 pro boxer with he had 18 knockout losses. I don't even know how the guy's a professional boxer. Just horrible matchmaking, but Terryl Johnson did what he had to do and did what he should have done and knocked him out first round. This is a tough fight because Burke let me down in the first fight. And I just feel like he's on the slower side. He puts power into a lot of these shots. This is a really tough breakdown. This is low confidence either side. I'm thinking this pick might have to resort to their last opponent and how good they were. I was gonna pick Terrell Johnson because his camp being with Kevin Lee. I just don't think I can. I'm gonna have to go with David Burke here, low confidence. I wish I could watch the fight, Terrell Johnson versus David Sanchez. I wish I could watch the whole fight. Looking at it, I don't know. I like the body work that David Burke's training. He's not a headhunter. He just got caught in his debut against a good fighter in Joe Peters. Terrell Johnson lost to David Sanchez, who I don't rate the highest. So I'm going to go David Burke here, get some redemption, get in the win column. Give me David Burke here, low confidence to win. All right, next fight, we got a welterweight bout. 33-year-old Isaiah Williams going to be taking on 28-year-old Joshua Whiteside. Another tough fight to break down. Both these fighters making their BKFC debut, but Isaiah Williams is coming into this with bare knuckle boxing experience over in BKB, bare knuckle boxing, where Mike Goldberg is the commentator. I wish a BKFC would try and pull him over. I think that would be a huge pull and step up in their commentary game. But I've noticed a lot of these fighters in BKFC, a lot of them do come from BKB, and I think that's one of the highest promotions you can come from. No real glaring differences on the tail of the tape. Looking at Isaiah Williams in his one bare knuckle boxing bout, he came out hot. I classify him as a brawler, and he should have got the guy out of there, honestly. The guy he's got that dog in him, and he refused to quit. Took an extraordinary amount of damage and just fought through it, and Isaiah Williams hit him with everything he's got. 99% of the people that are in there with him, I think they're going to go down in that fight. But the guy stuck through it, and Isaiah Williams hit him with everything he had, and just that feeling when you hit someone with everything you have and they just keep coming at you, man. You don't know what to do, and Isaiah Williams gassed out. I think he learned a huge lesson. But that's the pros and cons as a brawler. And like I said, I think 90% of the people that are on the other side of that fight are gonna get stopped. Looking at Joshua Whiteside, 1-2 amateur MMA, but he's got quite a bit of boxing experience, a little bit of kickboxing, not fighting the highest level of competition. Looking at his boxing bouts, looks like he can get clipped early, and that's not what you want to happen in bare knuckle boxing. I think I got to take the person coming into this with at least some experience with the gloves off, and I did like their fight style. I was leaning Joshua Whiteside off rip because of his boxing experience. I usually like that. He's got 6-7 boxing bouts. But this is going to be a tape pick. And another tough fight to break down, like I said. But quick breakdown here. It's going to be off tape. And I'm going to be taking Isaiah Williams here, low confidence. Joshua Whiteside does look big, athletic. But I like the brawling style in Isaiah Williams to try and come at him early and catch him off guard and just hurt him early. I think the odds on this fight's going to be pretty close as well. So I'm going to be taking Isaiah Williams here. Low confidence. On to the next fight. Alright, next fight we have a light heavyweight bout. We have Joe Peters, like I was talking about earlier in the breakdown. I took David Burke against him in his debut. Joe Peters already had one bare knuckle bout to his record. Now he's coming in this 2-0. 25-year-old Joe Peters is going to be taking on 38-year-old Maurice Horne, who holds a record of 1-1 in BKFC. Both these fighters own a 100% KO rate. 5'11 versus 6 foot. Maurice Horne's going to possess a 6-inch reach advantage in this fight. And it's also going to be orthodox versus southpaw. Looking at Joe Peters, 4-5 amateur MMA record, 0-1 boxing amateur, 1-0 kickboxing amateur. Maurice Green, 6-2 pro boxing record, 2-3 amateur boxer, Philly-born boxer, fighting out of Maryland though, I believe. Maryland, Delaware, somewhere. I think Maurice Horne could come into this like or in the minus 200 range just because his reach advantage. I think he's gonna be a much longer, taller fighter in this fight. Also, Horne is the type of fighter to live or die by the sword. I like those type of fighters. I just think he's gonna be the more athletic, longer, taller, stronger fighter in this matchup. But maybe his chin's running out. Maybe Father Time's catching up. Maybe they make him an underdog because 13-year age gap here. And it seems like his only con is his chin because he's a knockout or get knocked out type of fighter. And Maurice Horne, his nickname's God of War. I don't think this... I was going to take Terryl Johnson like in our earlier breakdown. But the 44 years old, doesn't look in the best shape. I've seen a little bit red flags in his last fight. But this is a fight where I think I have to take the older fighter in Maurice Horne. It's not because I'm fading Joe Peters because he beat me in his last fight. He does a lot of things right, but I think it's a bad matchup. You got tricky southpaw and Maurice Horne here. I don't know how many southpaws Joe Peters have faced. I'm sure he's trying to mirror them in training. But I think it's going to be hard to get in on Maurice Horne. Not confident at all, but I'm going to take him here low confidence, Maurice Horne, to get the victory over Joseph Peters and give him his first L in BKFC. On to the next fight. Alright, next fight we have a heavyweight bout. Forgot to add that in my tail of the tape. But this is heavyweight. As you can tell, these are some pretty big boys. You have 39-year-old Guilherme Viana going to be taking on 34-year-old Joseph White. Viana kind of stormed into the scene of bare knuckle, going 2-0. I'm pretty sure he's got 2 first-round knockouts. And he looks like a problem for this heavyweight division. You got Joseph White on the other side, 2-2 in BKFC. Viana, 6'4" compared to 6'2" Joseph White. Gonna possess 4-inch reach advantage in this fight. Also, Guilherme Viana's orthodox, Joseph White southpaw. Viana with a pretty nice 9-4 pro MMA record. On the other hand, you have Joseph White, 0-5-2 pro boxer, 1-3 amateur boxing according to BoxRec. Just on BKFC.com bio, it says Joseph White's amateur boxing record is 175-15. 175-15. It's absolutely insane. I don't know if I hate this. I don't know if some of these fighters are lying about their records just to get in here and get fights in BKFC. But when I look at your box rec and you're a 1-3 amateur, 0-5 pro, but your BKFC bio said you're 175-15 amateur, I'm seeing red flags. I'm not knocking against Joseph White, man. Do what you gotta do to get into promotion. But I'm reading through the lines here and I see what BKFC is doing. Viana's gonna be like a minus 500-600 here. And they're setting up, I think they're setting him up for his third straight first or second round knockout. I'm calling first round. This might be the dead man walking to the card, man. I'm seeing red flags. Viana looks dangerous for this division, 39 years old, but usually age can increase a little bit in these heavier divisions, hold up longer longevity. But yeah, I think this is a clear Guilherme Viana pick. I'm going to be taking him high confidence. I think this guy is worth putting in quite a few parlays. Alright, next fight we have a flyweight bout. Two ladies making their BKFC debut once again. You have 34-year-old Alexandra Ballou taking on 26-year-old Taylor Dagner. Not much on the tail of the tape besides the height. You have Dagner standing 5'9", pretty tall for flyweight division. Opposite Ballou, 5'7". Dagner should be the much longer fighter in this matchup. Should possess a reach advantage as well. I can't find their reach. Looking at Ballou, 3-0 amateur MMA, 2-2 pro MMA. Seems like in MMA she was more of a grappler, like to mix it up in the clinch, try and work in takedowns. I would say she relied on her striking secondarily. And I don't know how that's going to work in this matchup against Taylor Dagner, who she fights like a dog. Only a 2-4 amateur MMA record, but she's coming out of a good gym. And she's been a fan of BKFC for a long time, and she's been around BKFC fighters. She's also hasn't had the best upbringing, watching her interviews. And she seems super hungry. And this looks like BKFC kind of giving her a match for her debut and trying to push her. Because it seems like Taylor Dagner is a very exciting fighter. And her coming into this, 8 years younger, 26 years old, should be quicker, stronger, bigger. We'll just see how the nerves affect both of these ladies in their BKFC debut. And see how well they take shots without the gloves. I love this matchup for Dagner. I like what she's saying. I like what I'm seeing off of her. And I've honestly been waiting for her to debut for a couple weeks now. I really like Taylor Dagner here. I'm going to be taking her a high confidence. Throw her in your parlays, man. This is almost a max bet. I love this pick right here. Alright, next fight we have a middleweight bout. 31-year-old Gary Balletto III going to be taking on 38-year-old Adam de Freitas. Gary Balletto kind of stormed in on the BKFC scene. 2-0, 2 knockouts, I believe. De Freitas, 1-2 record. Looking at the tail of the tape, I do see some discrepancies here. De Freitas 6 foot tall compared to 5'11" Balletto, but he is going to possess 5.5-inch reach advantage over Balletto, and I believe he's going to have a huge size advantage. Looking at De Freitas' fight and just his IG, it just seems like he's a really big middleweight. I don't know how much weight he cuts. I don't know if that could play a factor into his losses, but he is a police officer. His base is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He is a black belt. Holds a record of 2-3 in pro MMA, 4-1 amateur. Like I said, active police officer. On the other hand, you got Gary Balletto III holding a very nice 11-3 pro MMA record as well. 4-0-1 pro boxing record, 0-1 amateur. This is a tough fight here. First looking at it, I wanted to take Gary because I've been on him since his BKFC start, and he hasn't let me down. He's looked good in his fights. But I think this is a bad matchup, and I think the bookies are going to get this one wrong. I think they're going to make Adam an underdog here for sure, but I think he should be the favorite. I just think he's going to be way bigger in this fight and possess a lot more power. And I just don't like this fight for Gary, honestly. I'm going to be taking Adam to Freitas here, hopefully as an underdog. I mean, if he's a favorite, then I guess the odds pretty right, but I think the bookies are going to make Gary the favorite here. You're only good as your last fight. I just like what I'm seeing out of Adam. If I didn't research this fight and dig as deep as I have, I would take Balletto. And then watching Adam DeFreitas get in the ring, I'd probably get pretty nervous. I'm going to take Adam DeFreitas here, average confidence. We're rolling the dice. Yeah, we're going to roll the dice here. Give me Adam DeFreitas, average confidence, to steal the momentum from Gary Balletto and get a nice win here. Let's go on to the next fight. Alright, next fight we have a featherweight bout. You have 30-year-old Harry Gigliotti going to be making his BKFC debut. Going to be taking on 32-year-old Timmy Mason, who's 3-3 in BKFC. Gigliotti's going to be making his BKFC debut, but he's coming into this with a wealth of experience as well in bare knuckle boxing, going 5-0 in BKB. Bare knuckle boxing. So Timmy Mason's got a tough test on his hands because he's facing a champion over there, coming from over there, and Harry Gigliotti. And both these fighters struggled on the amateur boxing scene. Harry going 0-5, not getting a win in amateur boxing, but turning pro and going 9-5, making a nice turnaround, 0-1 in amateur MMA. On the other side, you got Timmy Mason also having a rough start in his amateur boxing career in his early days, going 0-3, but turning around a little bit, 3-2 in pro boxing. Timmy Mason is a southpaw. Harry Gigliotti is ortho. Shouldn't be no glaring differences in tail to tape, height, reach. But like I said, this is a very tough matchup for Timmy Mason. Getting a champion from BKB, 5-0, defended his belt twice. I think they're trying to push Harry Gigliotti here. I think they would give him a better fighter if they want to show, if BKFC wants to show like their promotion's better and their fighters beat BKB's fighters. But just watching Harry Gigliotti's fights, I'm impressed and I'm sold. I think he's the real deal. I gotta go high confidence here with Harry. Should 100% be the favorite coming into this matchup. So give me Harry Gigliotti to possibly drop a body here and get a knockout in his BKFC debut and make a statement coming from BKB as a champion. No hate on Timmy Mason, 3-3 BKFC vet, but I think this is a very tough matchup for him. Give me Gigliotti, high confidence. Alright, next fight we have another featherweight bout. You have 39-year-old Rico Disciullo versus 30-year-old Elijah Harris. I'm really struggling with this one. You have Rico Disciullo, 11-2 pro MMA fighter, very good record. Both these fighters own 100% KO rate. This should be a really, really good fight. Nice firefight. You have Elijah Harris, 6-12 pro MMA, 0-1 pro boxing. Looking at the reach, he's going to have about 3-inch reach advantage in this fight. And this card, I'm kind of fading people to finally get their first L in BKFC. And I think either Gary or Rico's going to lose. I think I think it's going to catch up to him at one point, all this activity, and they're finally going to get somebody that it's going to be a tough matchup. And I think I got to take Elijah Harris here. This is a really tough fight. It's low confidence either way. But I'm fading activity this fight and fading momentum. I feel like Elijah Harris is going to be a big dog for some reason. Just looking at Rico Disciullo's pro MMA record, looking at Elijah's. But this is how BKFC is built. Like, who's got the more dog in him? I think Elijah might. I think he might crack Rico early. He comes out extremely aggressive. 9-year age gap favoring Elijah Harris. It's just Elijah Harris more of a wrestler in his MMA fights. Rico does have good boxing. Could come down to clinch. But I think these guys are just going to brawl it out and throw hard. And I think Elijah could catch him. Maybe catch him with a left hook. Fix Rico's nose a little bit. Well, like I said, I'm struggling with this fight. And I'm kind of leaning towards... I think Gary or Rico could lose one of these fights. And just fade in activity and momentum. He's getting a tough fight here, and Elijah, who's a brawler. Coming off a loss, he's going to be hungry. Give me Elijah Harris here. Low confidence. I think he'll be the underdog. Should he be? I don't know. This is like a pick'em fight in my eyes. Elijah Harris does have... He went to the distance with Nazim Sadikov. Probably mixed in his wrestling. I can't find that fight. But if you can survive on the feet with Nazim Sadikov, go 3 rounds with him, I think you can put up a fight against Rico here. Give me Elijah Harris, low confidence on the next fight. Next fight, we have a middleweight bout. You have 35-year-old Pat Casey versus 31-year-old Zeb Vincent. Pat Casey, 3-2 BKFC record. 67% KO rate, so he's finished 2 out of his 3 by knockout. Zeb Vincent, 3-3, 100% KO rate. Gonna be the much bigger fighter in this matchup. 6 foot compared to 5'8" Pat Casey. Gonna have a 6-inch reach advantage, but Pat Casey's gonna have quite bigger fists in this matchup. Pat Casey, 10-9 pro MMA record, 7-2 amateur. Zeb Vincent, on the other hand, 2-1 pro MMA, 6-2 amateur MMA, 1-0 kickboxing amateur. I said this card is going to be mostly fading momentum activity, but I actually like Pat Casey's momentum on this side. He's a shorter fighter for this weight class, but he fights in. He doesn't fight at range. He gets in there, and he goes to work. I like Pat Casey's fighting style. I didn't watch much on Zeb Vincent, I'm not going to lie. But I think Pat Casey's a stud. And I don't think this is the worst matchup in the world for him. I could see Pat Casey here being in the minus 200s. I could be wrong. Just a guess. I like the momentum Pat Casey's sitting on here, and I'll take him average confidence to beat Zeb Vincent. This matchup just doesn't really concern me really much for Pat Casey. So give me Pat Casey here, average confidence on the next fight. Last but not least, main event. Gonna be a quick video, 11 fights. Like I said, hard to find research on these fighters, man. But we got the main event here. Parker Porter, 40 years old. I got an asterisk there because I always asterisk if their birthday's within a month. So he's soon to be 41, pretty much 41-year-old Parker Porter, taking on 39-year-old Haze Wilson. Parker Porter coming off a win against Anthony Bennett. Haze Wilson coming off his BKFC debut loss to Anthony Bennett. Some people would take Parker Porter because Porter beat Bennett. Bennett lost to Wilson. But diving into this breakdown, Parker Porter, obviously UFC fighter, not no longer, former UFC fighter, I should say, 14-9 pro MMA record, and came into BKFC and holds a 3-0 BKFC record. 100% KO rate. Looking at his adversary, Haze Wilson, 14-9 pro kickboxer, 2-0 pro MMA, but he is 3-0 in bare knuckle outside of BKFC in a different promotion. Looking into Haze Wilson, looks like this guy lives in the gym, always working out, working hard too in his daily life. Just a hard worker in general, man, and just looking at their physiques, you can really tell that. Haze Wilson lives in the gym. I was concerned for Parker Porter in his last fight. I forget if I took him average or low confidence. I'll go check one sec. Yeah, I took Parker Porter average confidence, and I saw him get hurt in that fight pretty bad, but he battled back and won. But I just don't love this turnaround for him, honestly, after seeing him get hurt in his last fight. I think it's like a December turnaround, so it's like a nice 3-4 months, but I'm liking what I'm seeing on this Haze Wilson side. Seems like he'll have more power in this fight. Solid 14-9 pro kickbox record. So he should be able to hang with him technique-wise and Parker Porter on the feet. This is a really tough one. I'm fading the activity on Parker Porter, and like I said, like eventually someone's always got to go. I saw him get hurt in his last fight. A lot of people are going to be on Parker Porter this fight for multiple different reasons. But I got to take the more hungry fighter here in Haze Wilson, trying to can make a huge statement in BKFC to pick up a win right here. Get his first win over a UFC vet. Not the longest video, didn't show you guys many Instagram clips. Probably could have showed you a bit more, but I just told you everything that I felt and all the reads that I got. But yeah, give me Haze Wilson here. I'm going to be taking him low confidence. Get the dub over Parker Porter. Get a huge victory. Going to be no real height reach advantage in this fight, but I think Haze Wilson is going to be bigger, stronger. Just going to come down to technique, timing, head movement. Like I said, leaning Haze Wilson here, low confidence. Should be the underdog. Should be the favorite in my mind. Last card, I predicted everyone to be a favorite. All the fighters I picked, predicted them all to be the favorite, and they were. And a lot of dogs bit that card. But I just got to keep going with my reads. And on to the quick pick segment. Alright, little quick pick recap of all my picks for this BKFC Fight Night Mohegan Sun coming up on Saturday. For the first fight, Sophia Haze versus Nadia Moreno. I'm going to be taking Sophia Haze here. Average confidence. Next fight, light heavyweight bout. David Burke versus Terryl Johnson. Going to be taking David Burke here, low confidence. Got a welterweight bout up next. Isaiah Williams versus Joshua Whiteside. Give me Isaiah Williams here, low confidence. Light heavyweight bout, you have Joseph Peters going to be taking on Maurice Horne. Give me Maurice Horne here, low confidence. Next up, got a heavyweight bout. Guilherme Viana versus Joseph White. Give me Guilherme Viana here, high confidence. Flyweight bout, you have Alexandra Ballou taking on Taylor Dagner. Give me Taylor Dagner here, high confidence. Middleweight bout, you have Gary Balletto III taking on Adam De Freitas. Give me Adam De Freitas, low confidence. Actually, I forgot I'm taking him average confidence. We're rolling the dice here. Hopefully we can catch him as an underdog. Featherweight bout, you have Harry Gigliotti taking on Timmy Mason. Give me Harry Gigliotti here. High confidence. Next up, another featherweight bout. We have Rico Disciullo taking on Elijah Harris. Both repping 100% KO rate. Should be a banger of a fight. Could go low confidence either side. Give me Elijah Harris, low confidence. Next up, we got our co-main event of the night, middleweight bout. Pat Casey versus Zeb Vincent. Give me Pat Casey here, average confidence. Last but not least, our main event, what this card was built around, Parker Porter versus Haze Wilson. Heavyweight bout. Gonna be taking Haze Wilson here, low confidence. I wanted to try and get this video out early, but I haven't felt that good. Try and aim for like Mondays at the latest to release my video, but as long as I get them out before the lines, I'm usually happy. Just putting a lot of research into BKFC and UFC each week. For anyone that stuck through all my breakdowns, really appreciate it. Whether you tail me or fade me this week, I wish you best of luck. Bro Fight MMA out.